Very welcome, dear students and the attendees. This the third lecture in unit number 4, software testing, software engineering testing. We have seen all the details of the what are software engineering and software engineering testing in the first unit itself. That is first lecture itself, where we actually gone through all the mm, uh, syllabus points. But those points we covered in a very brief manner. Now we are actually elaborating each point every lecture wise. So today we are going to see about the system testing. And so before going for this objective and other things, let's try to define what exactly mean by a system. So here you are having your software. Okay, this is your software, and this software is actually need some other software for its execution. For example, when you write an application, it requires operating system. Okay, so consider this as your application. This as your application. Okay, and this is your operating system. This is as your operating system. Now, this operating system can't work without this operating system can't work without what we call as an hardware. So consider this as a hardware. Okay. So here you are having your hardware. Yes. Now this application is usable if there is some user group. Okay. Let's show this user group with this field circle. Okay. So if there is some user group, then and then only this application, this operating system, and this hardware are useful. Okay. So here you are having this user group. Okay, so you are having here the say consider number of user. So one to what you can say infinite. So we are considering there are number of user one to infinity, and now this hardware or this what can say your operating system application for certain operations need to communicate with external systems. Consider this hollow circle as the external systems, means other machines. So you are having your own machine, and this your own machine. This is your own machine hardware. This hardware is installed with particular operating system, maybe Windows app, and likewise. And then you are having an application on it, which is there, and this application is used by you. Yes, communicated by you. But at the same time, your system required to communicate with printer or other network devices. Likewise, so you are having one to infinite. I'm saying infinite because here infinite doesn't mean that you are not having, say, you are having some uncountable systems. But let's say, suppose when I'm saying here is the infinite, we are saying that is you don't know exactly how many. Okay, so you can't say that these many systems you are actually dealing with. For example, if you are connected with a internet right now, I and you, we both all are connected with the internet, but we don't know actually how many nodes are there in between the two nodes, that is my node and your node. Okay, through which this all data is transferring through. So we don't know the things, we don't really know the damn thing about this thing. So when we have this, what we are having this as the entire, this as your entire what you can say scenario. So here you are having your own system, that is your computer. This is your computer. Okay, then here you are having your user systems. Here you are having your uh, what you can say the other external systems. So this together form a system. So system doesn't mean simply the software designed and developed by you. The system means you are having your own software, you are using that software, some clients are using that software, your software is working, is actually requires some other softwares for its working, like operating system and the patches, or say if is a then is require a particular type of hardware. This hardware required to communicate with other hardwares or other machines, and likewise. So when you are in the system testing, obviously have three testing here in a system testing. Okay, first testing is what we call as a environment testing, which is non-engineering. So what type of environment is there that you require to test? Then you are having your software testing, which is your engineering testing, and then you are having what we call as a user satisfaction testing, or what we call as a validation testing. So not all the system testings are actually carried out by the software engineers. Some parts of system engineering are carried out by different other engineering fields. So today's objective is to learn about system testing. Then you have to learn about the other systems also. Apart from this, art of debugging, then what is software testing fundamentals, and the white box testing. So be patient. The content seems to be very theoretical at first, but if you go through the actual usage of this or applying this knowledge whilst testing your system, you will find it is very very difficult, and it is a completely practical subject to carry out. So first is, what is a software? Software is only one element of a larger computer based system which actually encompasses hardware of every type: printer, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, all these are the hardwares. Then you are having the people. Peoples are of different type: users, customers, stakeholders, buyers, sellers, and there are so many non-users are there also. Then you are having the information. Now this information is something: information about your software, information about developer, information about company, information about user, information about what type of input is required to the software, information is about what type of intermediate data is processed by your software or generated by your software, and what type of output is generated by your software. So there are a lot of information. You are having a volume of data here to deal with. So when we say software, it is not just the piece of software or piece of code that you have written. It is the entire system, and this system actually, this system's ecology actually encompasses many other things than only your application. So you require to do what when it comes to this system: a series of system integration, because actually your system means your software is actually giving you the output only if proper integration is there. Means your application need to be get integrated with the operating system first in a proper way. Validation tests are, now you know the validation test means your software should have to be accepted by the customer or the user, and it actually validated tests actually fall outside the scope of software processes, because customers don't need to say that your software is useless. Any logic, customer don't need any logic to say this. Okay, they just need what you can say, just to say it, because many times the customer don't know the technical details and the things, and they simply want some certain type of output. If that output is not coming uh, using the particular software, they may not validate that software. And so validation testing is solely out of the software engineers. So then who actually go for this validation testing? So there are two type of departments in a business. One is called as a HR department, human resource department. Another is called as marketing department. So these two departments actually, customer relationship management, what we call CRM, okay, or ERP, enterprise resource planning. Again, these are the softwares designed on some certain principles of business management, or what we call as nowadays as a business intelligence. So those are here carried out by those people. So this is out of scope of software engineer thing. Then around there are certain steps that's taken during software design and testing can greatly improve the probability of successful software integration. So what are these steps? Following a proper model like rapid application development, Bohem spiral model, or extreme programming, and likewise. But what exactly happen in a system testing? So anything goes wrong, nobody like to take a blame upon himself or herself. So what we start doing, Okay, I am not an exception. We all are doing the same thing from our childhood. If anything goes wrong, जैसे अभी समझो आपके घर में कोई मटका लाए है धूप के वक्त ठंडे पानी के लिए, ठीक है, और वो गलती से टूट गया, और मम्मी ने पूछा कि भाई किसने तोड़ा, ठीक है, तो ब्रदर सिस्टर की तरफ उंगली दिखाता है, सिस्टर ब्रदर की तरफ उंगली दिखाता है, और कोई ये नहीं बोलता कि ये मैंने तोड़ा है करके। या इफ यू कॉट अ क्रिमिनल, तो क्रिमिनल कभी ये नहीं बोलेगा कि मैंने गुनाह किया, वो ही ट्राई टू ब्लेम समवन। ओके, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज अ फिंगर पॉइंटिंग। If there is a system, if anything goes wrong in a system or something, no one like to take the blame upon himself or herself. And if no one is ready to take the blame, because taking a blame means you are responsible person, and irresponsible person means you are not taking the blame. You literally do not want to have the responsibility for the failure. Okay, generally what happens many times, I'm not saying this out of something, but this happens in many institutions. Okay, the people who generally try to lead something, let's say suppose you are given as a coordinator, or you are given as a team leader aspect. Okay, so this team leader generally do not try to take blame upon himself or herself. So what they try to make, they want try to make out a scapegoat from the team members, and this actually damage the team spirit. Once the team spirit get damaged, okay, when the team spirit get damaged, your team can't do proper work, and then you will not get the quality softwares. So if you go in a professional way, the professional way always says the responsibilities are always clear cut, what you can say, written out, and those responsibilities are given to each team member. So if anything goes wrong in that particular domain, everybody knows who should have to take the responsibility for that, and no finger pointing is allowed. So generally it is means drafting those things is not considered as a human. So this is the part of our ethical behavior. मतलब मेरी मुझसे गलती हो गई है, मुझे माफ कर दो, और मैं भी गलत हो सकता हूँ, like this attitude. Sometimes this happens. For example, let's say suppose right now I am teaching you this subject, but does that mean I know everything of the software engineering? Impossible. Yeah, I am not I don't know everything of the software engineering, because this is a continuously evolving field. Whatever I am telling you, this is I am telling from the experiences of very stalwarts, or what you can say, the intelligent people from this field, like Roger Pressman, Ian Somerville, and likewise. Okay, so when we are saying this, you should have to avoid the finger pointing. Never blame other for the system if the system goes wrong. Try to find out the reason behind the failure instead of blaming each other. And so that's it. Say that is when it goes to the system testing, you should avoid the finger pointing. And generally, what happens? We go on doing the finger pointing maximum time. If anybody is having questions, queries in between, you can put your queries or questions in a question answer box. Okay, that will help me to answer in between. Uh, but if you are having the questions or queries, then and then put only. Now one should anticipate potential interfacing problems, because interfacing are there are three type of interfacing: human interface, because we require to talk with each other. Okay, we require to talk with each other, that is called as a human interface. Then we require you are having this interfacing. So first anticipate potential interface. Human interfacing means the team communication should have to be there. Then you are having machine and human, or human machine interfacing, where you are should have to have the user interface. So command line user interface, graphical user interface, implicit user interface, all those things require to be done properly. That you require to do in a good way. So first is that is design error handling paths. that test all information coming from other elements. So whatever input coming to your system, you should have to check that input, and you have to design the error handling paths. Means if say suppose you want to do the binary search, okay, and if someone enter wrong data, if you want to say for example you want to get the mobile number from some person and he is entering ABCD, then you should have to stop. That is what we call as a handling paths. Okay, so you have to check your data types and other things for input. Then you have to conduct a series of tests that simulate bad data or other potential errors at the software interface. Okay. For example, your birth date and your mobile number or something, those if you are entered in a wrong way, that should have to be. And third, that you have to do for anticipating potential interfacing problem is that record the results of tests to use as evidence if finger pointing does occur. Means, say suppose if I give you the some responsibility and I say that is okay. Raunak is going to do this, Samir is going to this, Tejas is going to this, Tanaya is going to this, and likewise. Okay, so responsibilities are already say allotted, and then something goes wrong. Something goes wrong. Then, based on that work, you have to find out who is responsible for what work, and instead of blaming that person for you can say mistakes, ask that person to find out, record this evidence to not for if your finger pointing occur, and you have to go with a human what you can say thing. You have to try more on it, because sometimes what happens while developing many type of applications or softwares, uh, person may require more what you can say help from the other people. So you require to participate in planning design. If that person is not properly doing the things, you have to help the person. You have to, sorry. Now we are going to see what is system testing. It's actually a series of different tests whose primary purpose is to fully exercise the computer based system. And we are going to look into this series of all the tests. So this is a simple definition for system testing. It is actually what? It's a series of tests. Okay. And we are going to see it now. So first is the recovery testing. So what is recovery testing? Whenever you are having a system and the system is not working, say suppose properly, what you will generally do if the system is not working properly? We generally go and see for the systems what you can say uh, some mechanic or say some engineer. But what about a system is a fault tolerant system? For example, if is, let's say suppose you are typing in a word, and for every word a word is actually fault tolerant. It you call as self recovery. Or let's say suppose while working your system automatically crashes, and then you when you go on restarting the system, your data is completely lost, then system is not a recovering. So recovery means you have to find out how your system will work in the time of failure, okay, or in a time of overload. So you have to check for that. Recovery testing is the system test that forces the software to fail in a variety of ways and verifies that recovery is possibly or properly performed. So, if you consider this definition of the recovery testing, which is the what you can say as an actual definition of the recovery testing, then you whenever we go for the recovery testing, we are actually loading our computer with maximum load, the load which it can handle, and we try to find out how it handle that load. How when we see a computer, we are considering a software actually. So okay, so how it recover from any type of failure. So you are actually trying to give all type of wrong inputs to your system so that your system can handle that in a correct way, and likewise. So that is what we call as a recovery testing perform. That's how it is generally performed. Once this recovery testing is there, so what is recovery? It may be the automatic performed by the system itself. Then you should have to reinitialization, you have to check about that, how it reinitializes, or checkpoint mechanism. For example, when Windows crashes, generally what happen, it creates a log record at the time of crash, and all the register content and everything of that record are checked. And once those are log records are checked, it actually save that. And when you start the system, it goes through that log record and start the system from the uh, failure point onwards, and that is what we call as a checkpointing mechanism. Then data recovery is there. For example, anything when you are typing, data should have to be stored properly and recorded. Recovery must have and a restart should have to be in a proper way. So that is what we call say automatic. So these are the four processes that should have to be evaluated for correctness if the recovery is automatic. Now, if the recovery is manual, then you have to consider the mean time to repair. Means, say, suppose if some hardware fails or something, then whatever time required, the minimum time and the maximum time required to replace that is you not have to consider the, instead you have to consider the mean time, and that is what you can say uh, go for the recovery testing. Then comes the security testing. Any computer based system, okay, which is requires this some manages the sensitive information or causes action that can improperly harm individual, required to have the security testing. For example, you are on your WhatsApp account and you are sending some message. Let's say suppose you are having someone, uh, your very near and dear friend or some like, and you send some, what you can say, message to this friend, and this message become public. Okay, this can cause many times trouble to you. Some is conversations need to be remain private for its entirety, and some conversations need not to be recorded. So if you go with that, that is called as, what you can say, provide your privacy is required to be maintained. Now if this security to the privacy is not provided by WhatsApp, are you going to use it? Let's say suppose if you open the Facebook account, and on that Facebook account you uploaded your data, and suddenly this Facebook account found from this data your Aadhaar card and everything from the thing, and it discloses all your information to everybody. Or let's say suppose you simply have the internet service provider, and you log in into the internet and you surf few what you can say contraband sites, okay, are few sites which are socially not acceptable. Thou everyone after or those public, what happens, it will become called a so security, they are trying to log in into system, and suddenly you found that someone is already logging into your system. Okay, you have to check with first the proper security. So security to your privacy is first, then security to your data is there. Okay, the data should have to be secure, means data must have to be read only by those people for whom that data is intended, like that. So that is what you can say security testing. So what you require to do security testing, you have to check all type of protection mechanisms built into a system, and that is what you can say from improper penetration or any attack, and likewise. So that is what you can say the security system. So the security system enough resources, okay, time, because without giving time and resources you can't do the testing. It puts time and series which are difficult to what you can say conquer thing. For example, let's say suppose you want to create a completely secure system, you should have to create a tomb. Yes, a dead machine is completely secure. For example, if you if you are having a smartphone, battery is removed, okay, Whenever you are in a door, you are trying to manage the security by using a lock mechanism and something latch mechanism, but you can manage it. You can't guarantee the 100 goals required by this particular continuous security analysis or security tests are designed to confront programs with abnormal situation and we have deal with release only because to his and all the pads this to see libraries or so they so overload that is what it is. So you have to identify how much load your load your software can without doing any some testing. It actually exerts normal quality, quantity and frequency or volume. Best example for this is again another example. This when Flipkart first launched its uh, offer of 1 rupee buying first time in India. Okay, within 3 minutes, Flipkart saw around 30 crore plus people login into its system. What happened? Flipkart server goes down, and for next to around 1 or 2 months, they simply struggle to make those server alive, and that is what you can say trace testing. So you require when you say abnormal, it means literally abnormal. So here the tester actually attempt to break the program entirely. So examples, special test may be designed to generate say many interrupts, 10 interrupts per seconds, and likewise average rates, input data rates may be increased, and likewise magnitude may be increased, login cases may be increased, test case required. So these are the 4 points that require to be considered, 4 5 points to uh, for this testing the trace handling capacity of your software. Okay, so software or system should have to be checked for the trace testing. Then the sensitivity testing is there. What is sensitivity? A variation of the stress testing is a technique called sensitivity testing. Some situations are there. The most common occur in mathematical algorithms. A small range of data contained within the bounds of valid data. मतलब क्लास के अंदर ही जो थोड़े बहुत बच्चे हैं उनमें से कुछ लोग क्या करते हैं कभी कभी IPL लाइव आई एम नॉट गेटिंग Srinivas Chalikwar said, Sir, IPL live. I'm not getting what is the long form of this IPL. Is it Indian Premier League or Idiots Premier League? Yeah, someone is playing it. Indian Premier League. Okay, it is live. So what's that? How to do with uh, our lecture? Okay. One thing is that Indian Premier League live is actually streamed live. Okay, and when it gets streamed live, it actually require to check about the sensitivity testing, because if data is not properly checked in that, then it can cause the problem. So sensitivity testing attempts to uncover data combinations within valid input classes that may cause instability or improper processing. Then the performance testing. Uh, for real time and embedded systems, these performance testings are there. Actually, a real time system, what is performance? You know, Chernobyl in Russia, uh, the pressure wall in Chernobyl, Russia nuclear reactor actually need to release some pressure within a fraction of second, but that doesn't happen in a real time system, and it causes that go down, and Chernobyl happens. The nuclear reactor burst like a bomb, a nuclear bomb, and almost 2 to 3 lakh people died within a second. So when you have the real time system, performance testing is very necessary, because real time testing won't give you time if it fail into performance to recover or something. So there are many such hard real time systems are there. So this testing is done to runtime performance of software within context of integrated system. Another example for this real time system performance testing is that when we launch this Vikram on moon, as Vikram satellite, Vikram actually the what we call as a pathfinder on the moon. Okay, uh, because the components were uh, not proper, I can say whatever the test they have done too many tests, but some tests may have something may have gone wrong there in the performance, and we actually lost the contact with the Vikram. So that is what we call as a performance testing that required to be done. So embedded systems and like, it's very essential part of system testing. Once all these testings are done, we require to do the deployment testing. Deployment testing, as software must execute on a variety of platform and under more than one operating system. Okay, variety of platform and under more than one operating systems. And when we say more operating systems, we are actually saying that is these are the testing when the software is actually used by your end user, and when the end user uses these softwares, they require to consider what you can say their machines capacity, server capacity, how they are going to install the software, how they are going to configure the software, where it is auto configuration or likewise, and that is what you can say deployment testing. For example, day before today, WhatsApp actually announced, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook actually announced that WhatsApp is now capable to run itself from 4 devices using the single mobile number. You simply have to connect your mobile to the 4 devices, so you can actually communicate with 4 groups parallelly using WhatsApp. Yes, that is, you simply have to connect your mobile with 4 laptops, and on one laptop, that group will be handle. You can handle this thing like and something, or you can open the 4 windows, 4 virtual machines on a same laptop, and you can go with that. So that is called the deployment testing examines, and that requires so all installation procedures, specialized installation softwares. If some patches are required for the installation, everything required to be mentioned in the deployment testing, and every documentation or what we call say ready help should have to be given to the customer beforehand of any error. So what is now we have seen the testing. We are going to see what is the art of debugging. Testing actually give what you can say testing debugging is the consequences of successful testing, because a test actually uncovers error. Test uncovers an error, while debugging is the process that results in the removal of the error. So debugging is the next process of the testing. That is, testing can be considered like an preparing your food, while the debugging itself is the eating. So debugging is an art. It is just not science only. It is also an art. Why it's art? Because sometimes when we go on debugging, or some errors that we actually identified in our program may not actually be the errors. For example, this is that often confused with the symptomatic errors. But what about the asymptomatic error? Now, do you know that is symptomatic, asymptomatic? Due to COVID-19 situation, almost everyone know this asymptomatic, that a person is diseased but not showing any person is having the disease. Disease means dead. I'm not saying that. Person is having some disease. Let's say is having the infection of COVID, but is not showing any symptom. Then it's called as asymptomatic. What you can say, COVID case. But in such cases, confront these cases are very difficult to identify. So there are, in a computer software also, there are two type of errors. One is called as a semantic, another is called as syntax errors. Syntax errors are symptomatic. You can easily remove or easily what you can say, correct them. Semantic errors are many times asymptomatic, or even if they are symptomatic, they are very vague, or very, what we can call as very mysterious in the nature and quite difficult to conquer. So if you confronted with the symptomatic errors, it is very easy because the external manifestation of the error is there, and internal causes also have there, and you have to identify those errors. So this is what. So if the poorly understood mental process that connects a symptom to a cause is a uh, debugging process for you. So you have to be very careful with the debugging process. Now, what is debugging process? It is not testing. Okay, but occurs as a consequence of testing. It begins with the execution of test cases. So you require to identify what type of medicine you should have to offer to the this uh, what we call as uh, debugging process. Okay, so that we require to go through. Then non-corresponding data are the symptom of an underlying cause as it hidden. For example, let's say suppose you are on a software and you are communicating with other software, and your software is creating unnecessary data. Then that non-corresponding data is the symptom that there is some error in the execution, and you have to identify that error and you have to remove that. That is a debugging. So it will have one of the two outcomes when it comes to debugging process. First is the cause will be found and corrected, and second, cause will be not found. These are the only two outputs. So whenever you know the error, either you can find out the cause of that error, or you may not find at all any cause for the error. So why that error happened, you never come to know. So this is what the debugging process. So if you go with the debugging process, something like that, you are having, what you can say, the different things in debugging. Okay, so you test cases, that is identified causes, means your test. Then you are doing the correction, you are doing re-execution, and or you can so see the suspected causes, and likewise once these test cases are done, you are executing them and you are sending results back to the debugging. So if you see the debugging, it is bit circular in fashion, and it's totally depend upon what type. Why is debugging so difficult? First, debugging is not easy. No software engineering process is easy. Okay, this seems to be easy when you read it, but they are very very difficult, or what you can say, uh, very they require at least some, what you can say, patience to deal with them. So the symptom and the cause may be geographically remote. For example, let's say suppose you are working on your uh, mobile phone right now, and using some app, and suddenly you find that this app is not working properly. Okay, suddenly you find that this app is not working properly, and you try to find out the cause in your mobile phones, but your app is actually powered by some cloud. So this error may be in a cloud itself. Okay, so that is what we call say far actually. So it's quite difficult to debug. Sometimes what happens, a error may occurs and may disappear. So this may occur temporarily. For example, right now in this session itself, when I started the session for first 5 to 6 minutes, uh, this webex and all these softwares simply stop working. I don't and then automatically they started working properly. So what exactly happened, I never come to know. So the symptom appears and disappears. So there is something there. The symptom may actually be caused by non-errors. Non-errors means right now this session's example. What are the non-errors? Computer system requires some memory for execution. Cisco Webex requires some memory for execution. Other softwares require some memory for execution. At the same time, they may be claiming on the same resource, and if that resource is exclusive, means non-shareable, then the system may hang, and that is what we call as a non-errors. This not the whatever error is occurring in the system working may be some due to something which is non-error. So this is what say. So these are the few reasons about why the debugging is so difficult. It may be result timing problems, may be difficult to accurately reproduce the input conditions. Symptoms may be intermittent, means they may come and go, so you don't know exactly what is happening. The system may be due to the causes that are distributed across number of tasks. So if you are in the client server, distributed advanced networking, cloud computing, you never come to know exactly where the error is, and so there are there. Then when it comes to debugging, there you require to consider the psychological consideration. There is an innate human trait. Some people are good at it and others aren't. मतलब अभी देखो, कुछ लोगों को कुछ बताना नहीं पड़ता, दे नो हाउ टू डू द थिंग्स. कुछ लोगों को थोड़ा बताना पड़ता है, दे नो how to do the thing, but after some directions. But there are few people, they never ever learn how to do things because they literally don't have that in them. Okay, so it's not their fault, it's not something like that. They're just made in that way, what we call as a genetic disorder. So in the same way, debugging prowess is an innate human trait. So we have to consider the people whom you are giving the what you can say debugging responsibility. So if those peoples are very efficient in correcting, pointing out the errors, okay, they must have to be considered as a tester and debuggers, else or otherwise not. So heightened anxiety, unwillingness to accept the possibility of errors, these are the other things in a human being. No one like to get what you can say superseded by anybody, okay, and at least by someone who is even not of your caliber. Now, so what generally happen in the teams, a senior member, a junior member, and like this happens in way, and they go on fighting on these debugging issues. So senior says this is an error, junior say no sir, it's not the error, and it goes on. So psychological consideration must have to be done while doing the debugging. So by avoiding the first thing, that is finger pointing, and second thing, do not hurt the ego of each other. Okay, give respect, then you will get the respect. That is what you can say debugging strategy, or out of debugging consideration of software. So what are the regardless of the approach that is taken, debugging has one overriding objective, and that is find and correct the cause of software error or defect. This is the only one objective of the debugging. Okay, this is your object, find out and correct the cause of software error or defect. Right now this system is not working. I don't know why this happened. It's not working. This happened due to the memory something lapses and so debugging is straightforward application of the scientific method that has been developed over 2500 years back. So if you consider debugging is not something which is a part of actually computer or software engineering, it is a part of engineering itself. Engineering is the science or method or art to refine the existing technology, and to refine existing technology you have to find out the flaws in it and you have to remove those flaws by adding the new things, and that's why debugging is the intent. So generally there are three debugging strategies that is provided. One is called as a brute force. Brute force means that is you are actually trying to use no brain at all. Then second is backtracking. Here you are trying to analyze something, and third is the cause elimination. So when you go with these three debugging methods, uh, uh, sometimes this causes something. Okay, so we are going to see this brute force and likewise. Okay, so debugging tactics are there, brute force tactics. Backtracking is fairly common debugging approach that we have to see whether it works or not. If it is not working, you go back and try to work with us another way and likewise. Okay. Then there is another tactic of the debugging that is called as cause elimination. This is manifested by induction or deduction. It requires algorithmical analysis of the entire process, and so this is quite a difficult because cause hypothesis is device and you require to go with the intelligent analysis, regression, and many other things. Cause elimination tactic of debugging is very difficult in things. So there is an automated debugging tactics which is which can use any of the three debugging strategies. And last is the people factor. If by when you go on debugging your software, if you found no solution, you should have to ask for the help from the people, and that's where free open source software, git hub and other things are coming. For example, when Linus Torvald actually designed and developed its first Linux kernel, okay, he made that kernel public, and the public other people, other researchers, they added their intelligence and you got a very strong Linux system. So that is what we call as a final maxim of for the debugging might be you have to go with the things. So there are three simple questions that you should have to ask before making any correction. First question is that is the cause of the bug reproduced in another part of the program? Because sometimes what happens, there may not be any error in your program, and it may be caused by the another program itself. For example, let's suppose you are trying to execute your program and your computer is already running some program which have grabbed few resources which are required to your program and it's not ready to release those, your program will not work. So you have to find out these things first. Okay, so then second question that you have to ask, what next bug might be introduced by the fix I am about to make. For example, let's say suppose if you want to do some what you can say debugging, and if that debugging is going to create more problem, then it will be better to leave that error as it is instead of debugging it. So that is what you can say. Before correction you have to make the source code better design. You have to evaluate for all type of possible errors that may happen, and then how to correcting the error. Last question is that is what could we have done to prevent this bug in the first place. मतलब कुछ कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी होती है, just for example let's say suppose if you practice requirement engineering specifications, practice of inception, elicitation, elaboration, negotiation, verification and validation, okay, you hardly get uh, what you can say few bugs in your actual design. And if that design is checked with an white box testing, that is a reconsideration of design every time, you'll hardly get any errors in your code. So that is what we say in the first place. So to avoid maximum errors, you require to have the quality design. Okay, so now the time is already 11:45, and so we are going to start with a software testing fundamentals and white box testing in next lecture. If you are having any question queries, you are free to ask. If you are not having any questions and query, what I as usual, I require some appreciation from you. If you like the lecture, like thumbs up and something. Okay, and today by evening 4, I will upload the details of. Thank you, Raunak. Uh, Thank you, Vamya. Thank you, Ritik, Sushil. Thank you. I will by 4 p.m. I will upload the TAE2 details on the Google Classroom about the topics given to you, and how to, what you can say, create your first title slide of your template. Okay, thank you, Komal. Thank you, Shruti. And this is what say. So I'm stopping sharing of the presentation, and considering that you all like this lecture, I'm ending the training session now. Thank you very much.